All right, so we have to get started. Quick recap on what we did last time before we dive into tonight's assignment. Uh, in our last class, we talked about general introduction to data analysis. I define data analysis as the process of reprocessing data in order to identify trends, patterns, and outliers, which uh, end up becoming the insights that could be used to influence smart decision making. We also talk about the importance of data analysis. We'll also discuss the application areas of data analysis. In case you were not in that class, I believe the video link will still be made available so that you can go through it and get the total package of what we discussed in that class. So I just want to paraphrase so that I can maximize the time we have tonight to really go far with the basic aspect of Excel. That's going to be my focus tonight. So we also discuss various types of data analysis where I mentioned descriptive data analysis. We also talk about the diagnostic analysis, and then we talk about the prescriptive analysis, and of course, we also discuss predictive analysis, and I took my time to explain each of them. So I want to ask if we have any question from that last class before I proceed.
Not from me.
Okay, so please let us confirm. I want to know if all is well with the last class before I proceed. All right, so I will assume all is well. All right, so tonight we are focusing on general introduction to Microsoft Excel. Remember that in our last class, we did mention that Microsoft Excel is one of the most used uh, data analysis software or tool. So we have to start from there because that will give us a very strong foundation. In fact, if you do not start by learning advanced or basic to advanced Excel for data analysis, you might not actually be rooted because that is where we actually get all the logic, the foundation, the concept that we keep replicating across other tools. So I want to quickly start with the definition of Microsoft Excel. So what is Microsoft Excel? Microsoft Excel is a powerful spreadsheet software application. Is a powerful spreadsheet software application developed by Microsoft. Developed by Microsoft. Now, there are some keywords I want to break down. The first one is the spreadsheets. To us as data analysts or data experts, we see spreadsheets as the platform, the framework that hold data for us to analyze. We also see the spreadsheets as the application library. What do we mean by library? Library means the collection of functions. And that is why we are going to see as we proceed, you see us invoking some of these functions from the worksheets or the spreadsheets. So in other words, like I said, we should always see the spreadsheet as two things, like I've mentioned. One, we should see it as a platform because as a data analyst, you definitely need a platform to hold data for you, whether you are using Python. We have a framework that holds data for us in Python. If you are using SQL, you also have the framework. You are using Power BI, all the platform provide us framework. So in this case, Excel spreadsheet represents that platform that allows you to either directly generate your data values or to import or to load in already collected data. And like I said, we also see it as a library. In other words, functions storage, where functions are stored within the program. So that is the reason why we use the word, it is a powerful spreadsheet. What makes it powerful? Because of the availability of so many functions that you can take advantage of, whether you are using it for data analysis or you are using it for information management. Because some of us might just learn Excel just to be able to manage information or records, while some of us, we are learning Excel in order to use it to draw actionable insights that can influence in terms of decision making. So whichever way you see Excel, we should know that it is an office application that manages records. So record can be the collected information, which is made up of data objects and series. So as I proceed, we'll get to know the meaning of some of these key terms I'm using. All right, so just to conclude that definition, just to add to it, it is a powerful tool because this is the aspect that actually concerns us directly. It is a powerful tool for data management, analysis, and visualization. Just take note of those three keywords. It is a powerful tool for data management, analysis, and visualization. So that is why I said you have to choose what you want to actually do with it. If you want to use this for data visualization, Excel has a lot of incorporated tools for visualizing your data, either in a tabular form or in a graphical form. If you want to use it to perform descriptive or let's say exploratory analysis, it has a whole lot of statistical functions and automated functions that you can use to perform all this analysis. If it is just for tracking a record, let's say inventory, it also has a lot of function that can help you to achieve that. So truly, it is a powerful spreadsheet. Now, let's quickly discuss some of the key features of Excel. I believe that will give us a clear understanding of the major function of Excel. So, other the key features of Excel. Other the key feature, I'll start with the very first one is the very first key feature I want to discuss is the spreadsheet, which I have explained. The spreadsheet. So, like I've said before, the spreadsheets provide us grid lines, which forms the interface that allows users to create and edit tables, charts, and graphs. So that is one of the major functions of the spreadsheet. So if I could just switch to it so that you see what I am talking about. So you see these vertical lines and the horizontal lines, they are called the grid lines. They are called the grid line. Now, the grid lines form spaces. Now, the space or the spaces formed by these grid lines is what makes up the spreadsheet we are talking about. For example, we have this vertical line forming the space called column A, because the vertical spaces on the spreadsheet, they are referred to as the columns, while the horizontal spaces on the same spreadsheet, like this, they are called the rows. Now, literally, we can switch them based on the functionality of these spaces that I just mentioned. Now, we all know that if you are to create a simple data set, which we are going to do today, which falls under what we call data entry. So, for example, if I want to create a simple sales inventory and I say, let's say customer name, and then I say product name. Now, you can see that instead of me just recognizing this space as the way I described it before as column, now the name will not change based on the functionality. The name will not change to the attributes or label, which means that this particular heading is meant to describe some of your sub data properties. So we can now say this is an attribute and this is an attribute, because an attribute provides additional information about the principal words elements within a data. So just for you to know why I use the word grid, I only wanted us to understand the grid. So that is one of the key features. In other words, we are looking at what makes up a cell. We have a section or a component referred to as what? Spreadsheet, which I just explained now. Now, number two key feature of a cell is formulas and functions, like I've highlighted before. So one of the reasons why Excel is more user-friendly compared to all the four data analytics tools and programming languages that I mentioned, because of the way you can easily work with functions and formula So when we say functions, that could be the inbuilt predefined data type, which are expected to be used to perform calculation. Now, when we say formula here, we are talking about the query. That is what the formula you write as a user, because Excel actually gives room for users to be able to write their own functions where they feel the inbuilt function could not solve the challenge at hand. So how do we explain the formula and the function aspect? It means that Excel provides a wide range of formula and functions for data calculation, manipulation, and analysis. So you're now beginning to see the reason why Excel is recommended for us as one of the data analysis tool, because it has inbuilt functions which help us to calculate, manipulate, and even draw insights from our data sets. Now let's look at another key feature. We are still on Excel key features. The third one is data analysis. Data analysis. So what does that mean? It means that Excel offers us various data analysis tools which helps users to such as pivot table, charts, and graph. So pivot table is one of the highest function in Excel. I'm talking about working directly with Excel interface. But when you now go deeper into VBA, then that is where you can now begin to create a modeling function that can automate your data system. So that is the third key feature of Excel. Let's look at the fourth one. The fourth one is data visualization. Data visualization. Now, I want to clarify some terms here. The field of data analytics, whenever the word or the term visualization is used, it does not actually zero on only graph. It's beyond graph. Though graph is a model, right? It's a model which is used to present our findings for us to be able to easily identify the trend, the patterns, and the outliers or the correlation. Unlike table is another visualization model. So I just want to correct that, because most time when we hear this word visualization, the only thing that comes to our mind is graph. Graph is beyond graph. All right. So how do we explain that particular key feature? It means that Excel visualization tool help us to create interactive and dynamic charts. It helps us to create interactive and dynamic charts.
Dynamic chart.
Now, when we proceed, I want to also break some of these terms down for us. You see, there is difference between interactivity of your data system and your data system being dynamic. Interactivity means that you have like 3-4 reports or model that are communicating. In fact, the single word to explain interactivity is communication. And that is one good thing about this field. If you are learning this field and you do not know how to develop or create interactive dashboards that can be used to answer multiple analysis question, or that can be used to derive multiple insights from a given data, then you have not started. Because the beauty of data analysis is in dashboards. And that is why you see almost everybody, all company recommending one of the most powerful tool when it comes to data visualization Power BI, and Tableau, because you can design fantastic dashboard with those ones. But Excel also has its own expertise. It can actually be used. The only thing is that it will require much skills for you to be able to measure the level of interactive dashboard you create in Excel with the way you can easily get it done with those specialized visualization tools. Now, let me quickly talk about the fifth one before we go to the next topic: collaboration. Collaboration. So Excel allows multiple users to collaborate on spreadsheets in real time. Now, this particular one is not applicable to all versions of Excel. Then let me explain this. There are different installation of Microsoft Office where we are extracting Excel from. We have the online, or let me use the right word, the cloud installation. You know, if you are not considering data consumption, you can actually decide not to install it on your local machine. You can just have an email account and then sign up with Microsoft Corporation or Microsoft Office, and then you'll be able to run any of these Office application directly from their server. But the only thing is that your system must be connected. And then you can also decide to buy the downloaded copy from any of the vendors around you and then install it, or you download it directly from internet if you know how to navigate around it. So there are a lot of benefits. So it is that cloud that actually gives us that access of collaboration. All right. So I believe I have explained much on the key features of Excel. So after this class, I expected every one of us, whenever you are asked, what are those things that make Excel what it is, you should be able to mention those powerful features: spreadsheet, visualization, analysis, and the rest of them that I mentioned. So let me get a response if we are all following before I shift my attention to the next topic. At least one person, let me get a response. Are we following?
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
we are.
Please feel free to use the reaction button, or you kindly unmute. Once I hear a voice, I will pause. All right. So now let's quickly talk about how do we even start with the Excel? How do we start with it? In this case now, I've already opened it before you guys join the class. So let me close it. So let's assume that you are given a system like this, and you have confirmed that Excel has been installed. How do you load it? Now, there are several ways you can actually load Excel, or there are several ways you can access it. Excel is an application. As we all know, from computer appreciation training, we were taught that application softwares are software that are designed for specific tasks, right? Now, Excel is one of an example of an application software. Now, what is now the specific aspect or task Excel is created from? I have already highlighted some, but let me summarize. The specific tasks you can perform with Excel: one is calculation, two, record management. Then we can now, under record management, that is where we are now extracting data analysis from, because those same functions that are designed primarily for managing records are the record you are now using your expertise as a data professional to manipulate for different niche or different purpose. So we should know that the two major reasons why Excel exists: for record entry and management and performing calculation. Now, how do we access it on our system? Because I understand I have some of us here that actually need this very basic. Now, once you have confirmed that an engineer or someone else must have installed it, then you go to your start button. Then from your start button, you should be able to see this pop-up environment. Now, this environment that came up as soon as I click on the start button, professionally, is called the system manager, or let's say, the system application manager. Though it also provide us paths or link that can take us to the system settings, just like as you can see here. But primarily, when you click on your start button, it means you want to exploit the resources within the system. And what comes out is this program manager. So from here, you should know that there is a storage, there is what we call application storage. Once an app is installed in a system, it goes to a particular storage. So it is from that place you will now be consulting it each time you want to use it. As you can see, Excel is here as one of the pinned or recently used application. So in case you can't find it here, just because maybe you have not pinned it, or the system have not, there's what we call the cache. The cache is the memory, is a temporary memory of a system that track the recent use or the often used application. In Microsoft Word is there. So the reason why you could be seeing all this here, because these are the recent use application. But in case you have not used one for a while and you couldn't find it here, then you proceed by clicking on all app. So the moment you click on all app, then the computer will now take you to the application buffer, to the application storage, where all the apps have been sorted alphabetically. So all you need to do is for you to acknowledge or recognize the letter, the alphabet that starts that application, if you want to fetch that app faster. For example, ordinarily, these are the app that start with a letter. So I'm going to E because Excel starts with E. So as a basic computer user, I can take my time to be scrolling. Or you don't need that. All you need is just to type that keyword. Every application, once it has been installed, has a search key word registered in the operating system, which is the first alphabet. If you type the first alphabet, if it doesn't come up, then add the second alphabet. Definitely, by the time you type the first, the second, the third alphabet, if it doesn't come up, then it means that what maybe a malware, if you are sure that it's actually installed, it then means that malware have changed the directory from where it should be. Now, but let's try it now. Type letter E, and then you see Excel comes up automatically, and then I click. So this is one way you can access Excel once you have installed it. And now the interface that came up is, as you can see, this is just like the get started interface. And why we are getting this get started interface, it is because we are following the right channel. We are following the due process. Because there's another method I'm going to show us. And if you try using that option to launch the application, you are not going to have all this you are seeing. All this you are seeing, they are called templates. What do we mean by templates in computing generally? Templates or presets means what? Something that the application developer has put together for you, and then you just what flow with it, or probably you just want to steal some concept from it, and then probably go to the blank workbook to develop it from scratch. So, but I will just show us how to exploit the template, and then I come back to this, because if we are smart, there are some tasks that they will give to us in our office. We do not have any idea how to develop it. You see, one of the most challenging aspects of data, I won't say data analysis, because that is a different field. We have data engineers. I believe if you have researched, you must have heard people saying that I'm a data engineer. I'm a data engineer. It's different from data analysis. Data engineers, these are people who develop system, who create system. For example, now, if you go to the banking sector, somebody developed the system that is automating all their transactions. They are the data engineer. Okay, so now what I'm saying is that if you want to learn a little bit of the data engineering, or you want to know what Excel has predefined, you can exploit any of these templates. And each of them, when you tap on there, comes with what? Documentation. The documentation will brief you what this particular template was designed to do. Now look at it, design, that is monthly company budgets. So this is what some of us can venture into and make a lot of money, particularly if you go into VBA. That is where you can create some of these flexible automated system. Now look at the tax, track spending with this business budget template. Oh, if I say, okay, I want to download it and look at it, then you just click on create. Now, if you are on the internet, you have access to more of these templates. But if your computer is not connected, you have access to limited templates. So you can see that this particular template has a lot of, you can see the number of sheets the person deploy. So we have monthly budget summary. So this is the analysis. Now, this is actually what is actually taking most of our job from us. Most companies will just, consult a data analyst like you, and they develop an automated analysis system for them, such that all they need to do is just to be entering information in a particular sheet, and all the analysis will be reflecting. Like as you can see here now, look at the graphical representation. This is not where it all started. So this is income. This is pure entry. This is personal expenses. This is operating expenses. And everything is being summarized here. So these are some of the system we will be able to build as we proceed. I just hope that we all gather momentum, because we should be able to design system like this at the end of the training with the available functions that we have in Excel. Now, that is just for us to understand how to exploit, how to take advantage of the template. So at your own convenience time, take your time to open each of them and see whether there is something positive you can derive from them. Now, so that is how to access Microsoft Excel through the program manager. Now, let me quickly show us one more method, and then we shift our attention to the next topic. Now, if I don't want to access Excel through the program manager, which involves me clicking on the start, which other way can I access it? Now, you can access Excel using the operating system, or let me use the right word, the GUI. The GUI means what? The graphical user interface. The graphical user interface. So what do we mean by graphical user interface? The whole of this interface that I'm navigating at. In fact, as soon as your system finish booting, the interface that comprises all these pictures, which are called icons, is called what? The graphical user interface. Most time professional will abbreviate it to user interface and silent the word, the G, because it's designed. That is why we have that G there. Now, why did the computer provide you as a user? Look at the word user interface. It means that this is a kind of intermediate interface between the computer have 3 layers. So you need to understand that, though this is Excel, but I understand that I have some of us here that have not done any prior training. That is why I'm trying to blend everything in order to carry everybody along. Now, the computer have 3 layers, which you should know. There are 3 layers as you are looking at it. But based on our knowledge base, some of us, we don't have the privilege to know the other layer. Now, I am a system engineer, so I understand that this is the environment that we are seeing right now is not the first layer. The first layer is what we call the BIOS. I believe there are some of us here that are familiar with that. The BIOS, that is basic input and output system. The BIOS is where all the devices, all the chips are registered. Okay, so there is a battery. There is a battery that powers it, which is called what? The CMOS battery. Complementary metal oxide semiconductor, CMOS. Now, that battery is what keeps your system updated. That's the reason why when you restart your system, the date is still correct. So the moment you restart your system and the date is no longer correct, then you start suspecting that that battery is weak. Now, just picture that. So in other words, the mouse that is moving now has a prompt. The processor, because when this computer was manufactured, all the possible devices that are connected to the computer has what we call drivers. So if the drivers is not within the operating system, that is when you hear engineers saying that they want to download driver, or you on your internet, you connect your computer to internet and do what we call system updates. All right, so all of that is for you to be able to work to make sure that all the hardware has their allocated prompt for communication purpose. Now, the window that you are seeing, the window is in between that back end where all the devices are registered and you. That is why it's called the user interface. So why did the operating system provide you this graphical interface? So that you can communicate. So that is why once you purchase a system, the first thing is for you to install an operating system. If not, there won't be an interface for you to communicate. Now, bringing it to the topic now, this is where I'm going. You can see this icon, I created it. So let me delete it. So the second way you can activate Microsoft Excel icon is by creating an icon to represent it within the user interface. So how do I create it? Because anything you see here as an icon stand as shortcuts. And of course, when you follow shortcuts, a lot of things will be missing. Now, peradventure you are given a system and the last user have not created an icon like this. You right click on an empty space, that is keep your mouse. Your mouse has the right button. You right click on it and then you see all this drop down. So from here, you now navigate to new. So from new, you now locate Microsoft Excel worksheet, and then henceforth, you have an icon representing it. So next time you want to launch the application, if you don't want to go through start, where you have to start searching for the keyword, and then you can just double click on it, and then it takes you to the interface. Now, look at how it's open. So this one bypasses all those templates. So if you want to see those templates, then you don't have to follow the shortcuts. As they say, shortcuts, even in life, shortcut you always miss something. All right, so I've just showed us the various ways on how you can access Microsoft Excel. So now that we have settled that topic, do we have any question before I move to the next topic? Any question, please? Any question? If I can just get somebody to respond, fine. Any question?
Yeah, not for me.
All right, so that means that we are all following. All right, now let's proceed to the next topic. The next topic is we want to take our time to understand the application interface. You see, learning like this has procedures. The first time you are introduced to an app, the first thing you should do after understanding the function of that app is familiarizing yourself with the environment of that app. It's very key. It's very key. It has a way of instigating some confidence in you. Because if somebody bring you here now, just imagine, ordinarily, if not that I have some conversation with some of you where I was privileged to know some of us level of this program, data analysis with Excel is advanced. What I will have done today now is just to bring data. As soon as you log in now, you just see a bunch of data here. You will not even know how did they create those data. You won't have any skill regarding to data collection skill and data formatting skill. But I am taking care of the basics so that because once I get to where I want to go into data analysis, I am going to teach us a topic called what? Data wrangling, where you learn different ways, different sources you can derive workable data from, not the one we are just going to be assuming because we are just learning. All right, so let's quickly spend some time to understand the environment of Excel. Now, I want to start by telling us that all application software, once it is called an application, there must be user interface. That is why those of us that develop app programmers, we are called what? The UI and UX designer. Why? Because we develop what? User interface. No app developer will develop an app, being it web app or mobile app, that will not consider user interface, because the user interface is what gives room to the users to be able to communicate with the app. The functions that were used to put this app together, you are not privileged to see them. The app developer will not privilege you to what? To see those functions. If you see those functions, some of us will be scared. If somebody should show you the function that put all this in together, the code, I'm talking about the code, you'll be scared using this. So what an app developer does is just to give you user interface. All right. So that is why it is important we start by understanding that user interface we are given. So Microsoft Excel interface or Windows is broken into various sections. So I'm going to take my time to show you each of these sections and also highlight their primary function so that when we start, you know where you can locate what. That is just what I want to achieve. So I want to start with the very top section. Which is the whole of this part I'm navigating at. From this down to this. It does not include this. This is a different section. So the whole of this section I'm navigating at is called the application title bar. So what is the responsibility? What are the information a user can exploit from that section? Number one, the name of your worksheets or the name of your workbook. For example, because I use shortcuts, that is the reason why you are seeing this default name. Because sometimes we can go for interview and they ask us. If you open Excel from the program manager, what is the default worksheet name? Now take note of this. Look at what you have now. Now, if I close it and I open it from here, you see the difference. If I click on blank, you see what happened. Instead of seeing new Microsoft, whatever, I am now seeing what? Book 2. Book 2. So the default is what? Book 2. Now, which means that currently the whole of the record that is presumed that I'm collecting is named what? Book 2. But we all know that book 2 is not a descriptive, it's not personalized to any what? Specific information. So the first thing you do is to save as. Save as. For those of us that are used or that are familiar with Office, we understand what we mean by what? Save as. Save as is when you are saving your document or your record for the very first time so that you have an opportunity to give it a unique name, which is called the ID. So the moment I go to File and I select what? Save as, you can see that I'm not selecting Save because I am saving this particular worksheet for the very first time. So I need to give it an ID. Save as, I will add either Save as Prosper or Save as Class. So the moment you click on Save as, the computer will prompt you another dialog box. So this dialog box is divided into two parts. You can see that the whole of this part is a different section. Here is another section. So you need to understand what you can do here and what you can do here. Everything you have here talks about what? The main storage, like the navigator. If you have, maybe you connected OneDrive. OneDrive is a cloud storage and you have your email, whatever, to sign into it. Or you have synchronized it in a way that as soon as you create a file, it's saved there. Fine, you can choose here. Then if you are saving in your local machine, you click on what? This PC. Then where the particular storage you want to select is not here. Let's say I want to choose the desktop without, getting it from the pin or the recent exploit section. I go to browse. That browse in computing means you are crossing to somewhere else to get what you could not access where you are currently what? In. So from here, you will now have opportunity to see different storages. So from here, you can choose whether document or desktop. And then after that, if you have a folder created, then you can select the folder and save the file. But if you don't have a folder, while you are here, you right click and then go to what? New. And then select what? Folder. And then you quickly give the folder unique name. Let's say what? We. Then click and then it's saying that what? That name is already what? Used. So let me change it to a different name. So I will just rename. I will just say what? We 2. And then click, right? So accept it. Now you go in, you double click to make sure that you are in the folder. And then before you can modify that book 2 that you were seeing. So I can now say that, okay, this particular sheet, I want to use it to track my sales inventory or my expenses. So that particular data in mind should influence the name of your sheet, except you just want to give an offline name. So I can say sales inventory. So maybe I will just put the year there. And then while you are saving, you can take advantage to password it. It's advisable you password. Now, if you want to password it, then you don't stop here. You suspend clicking on this save and go to what? Tools. From tools, you select general option. So from general option, a password or text box will be prompted. Then you'd write the same thing. Let's say I just want to use letter 1. Repeat that letter 1, and then you click OK. But you can see we have read only recommended. Now, read only means that this particular file that I'm creating, if I email it to you, you can only see it, you cannot modify it. If that is going to be the objective, fine, you can activate it. But if it's going to be saved in editable form, then there's no need of you clicking here. Just click here and then repeat that same password until it accepts it. Then you can now finally what? Click save. Now remember that we saved it on desktop. So was it desktop or document? Okay, we'll get it from recent. So if I open Excel now, if I open Excel and I want to open that particular file because it's a recent, so this is the cache that I was talking about. You can see it now. So the more new file you create, the more the old one will be deleted without your consent. That is why you must not depend on, you must have a specific place where you are keeping. So if I click here now, it will ask me for the password. And then I'll type what? Type the password, and then click. That is all. Now, what led to that step is for us to know how you can update from book 1 or book 2 to your real name. So you can see that initially on the title bar, this particular section was showing book 2, but now it's not showing our real workbook name. So that is one of the function of the title bar. Through the title bar, you can access the name of your workbook, and then you can also access the name of the application. And of course, we have some couple of buttons that I want to quickly explain. Now, this one is if you have an account with Microsoft Office, you can sign in here. Now, when you sign in, if you have registered before, your profile picture, small round profile picture will be showing here, which means that you are a licensed what user or you have an account with Microsoft. Now, this particular button is called ribbon. It's called ribbon display option. What are ribbon? These are just grammar as far this program is concerned. Ribbon means what? All these menus. Menu, file is a ribbon. You see home is a ribbon. Now, when you combine them together, the whole of this platform, the whole of this section that is displaying the ribbons, or let me use the tabs, TAB. Okay, so home tab plus insert tab plus page layer tab form the ribbon. So just get it, just like we are using the block name or the bucket name, then what you have inside the bucket will now be called the tabs or the menus. All right. Now, we need to also know that each of these tabs opens up different properties. And where those properties are displayed is called the ribbons what? Or the tabs property bar. Now, let's go back to, now you understand. Look at this. If I open the home tab, you see all this. So all these command we are seeing, they can be attributed to what? Home. So if I move from home to insert, you now see different what? Command. If I move to page layout, you see different command. If I move to formulas, data, review, view, each of these, they are the what? Tabs under what? The ribbon. Now let's come back. So what can somebody now do with the ribbon? The ribbons allow you to turn them off and turn them on, which means that with the ribbon, you can control their visibility. Simple as that. So let's try it now. So if I come here and if I come here and then I have 3 options, so I should know when to use each of them. The first one say auto hide ribbon, auto hide. Now, if I click on this, guess what happened? All the tabs has gone. Of course, once you cannot see the tab, definitely you cannot find the properties under the tab. So your hand can mistakenly touch that button that I click, and then that's, you might start thinking that maybe virus has affected your system, or you now carry your laptop and go and look for engineer. And if the engineer does not even understand how to bring this out, engineer will uninstall the Microsoft Word and bring it. And you know what? Even if he uninstall it and bring it, it will still go back there because the setting has been committed to the window, except he clears the window. So all you need to do is to come here and then select what. So you have the option to say, okay, you want to see only the tab, or you want to see the tab and their commands. So if it is only the tabs I want to see, so I will just click here. So now the disadvantage of me viewing only the tab is that, for example, if I have 9,000 here and I have 8,000 here, and I want to add them together and I type equals to, then I call this particular argument, and then I impute my operator times shift and 8, and then I call this argument, and then I press enter. So I have the results now. Now I want to change the color of this to like red. I have to go to open up the home tab, and then before I can access the color. Now, as soon as I've implemented the function, the whole function collapsed back to the home. So which means that the content are not active unless I open it like this. But that is just like wasting of time. So what I will do is to make sure that I use this option that says show tab and command so that I don't experience that. I hope somebody is following, please. Let me get a response.
Yes, I am.
Yes. All right. So now I've just explained this. Now let me talk about this. This is called minimize button. In fact, 1, 2, 3, we can summarize them as control buttons. Control, just like your control switch in your house that control the lights, different bulb in your house. So once you touch any button, you know that one of the bulb or one of the appliance will be affected. So this one is called minimize. So what is the practical meaning of minimize? Because these are computer terms. These are computer language. When somebody say minimize, what is he or she saying? To minimize means that remove the whole of Excel environment. At the moment, I want to switch to another interface temporarily. So you can see now, so I just minimize. And each time you minimize, you must understand that there is a bottom part, which is this. I hope you are seeing it, which is called the taskbar. The taskbar. So the function of the taskbar is that it allows you to view, as the name implies, tasks, all the tasks that you are performing, all the apps that are currently running. You will see their icon represented here. So since we just minimize Excel, if you want to bring it back, we just just touch it, and then you see it. Then just click on it, and then it brings it back. So that is the meaning of minimize. Then, of course, the second one, as you can see, it has two buttons, 2 in 1. The first clicking is called restore down. Look at it. What is the grammatical meaning in computer term when we say restore an application interface? It simply means that reduce it. And what are you trying to achieve? Because currently, when it's maximized, that application is covering the entire interface of the screen. And you want to view multiple windows at the same time. So there will not be need for you to restore. Right now, I am viewing part of Excel and I am viewing part of Microsoft Windows. So if I want only one application interface to fill the entire screen, then I will click on that same button. Remember now, if you go back to it, you will now be seeing maximize instead of restore. So that is what you can do here. The last one is for closing. And my advice for us is that anytime you want to use this, ensure that you have committed all your file. For example, when we save the other time, when we gave this particular sheet this name, then we have not typed all this information. So if I close this and open it now, all this will disappear because right now they are only held in the RAM, random access memory. They have not been committed to the ROM. So once you want to close, you press Ctrl S, or you go back to the file, and then this time around, you can use the ordinary save because you are not saving for the very first time. You are committing new entry. to the old ones. So I believe that is clear. So I'm done with that interface. So quickly, I want to switch to the next interface. We are still explaining, we are still studying. What we are doing now is that we are trying to understand a cell interface. These are the basic things that, you see, once you miss this understanding, the advanced aspect of a cell, which is for data analysis, will be very complicated to you, because when those people that have gone through this training are flowing with this understanding, then you are being scared with, you will not have certain confidence to approach this application. Now, let's quickly look at the next section, the whole of this part. Now, the whole of this part is referred to as the standard tools bar, the standard tools bar. Now, the standard tools bar allow you and I, or the user, to program command shortcuts, So how do we program it? In other words, you can choose to stamp a program shortcut or representative, or you can as well choose to not to stamp it. So the idea behind you compiling function here is that the ones you use often, you always ask yourself, that is why this space is left, this particular space, because the application know that, oh, at some point, you want to increase it. So the more you increase it, this customized quick icon will be shifting until it gets to somewhere here. Now, I want to remove everything, so that I'll show you how to bring them. Because you can be given a system whereby you initially have access to all of them, and all of a sudden, you can't see them. So you will now start acting as if you are actually handling a different system. So now look at it. I just have only the customized quick command. So I will ask myself, which of these commands that I know that each time I'm using this application, I must involve? There is no way you will use a cell that you will not save, right? So you say, okay, let me customize shortcut. Now, which means that instead of you going to file to select this save now, you have automatically program the shortcut. Now, there is no way you will not also open your previous work. So you click on open. So instead of you going to file to select open, you have also program is shortcut. Now I keep asking myself, oh, there's no way that I will not make mistake. So eventually I make mistake, how do I undo? And if I want to go back, how do I redo? Let me program undo, and let me also program what? Now, if I'm working in an office, I would like to be printing what I'm doing often. Okay, let me program shortcut for printing, and even shortcut for always previewing to check whether there are errors before I finally send it to printer. So that is a concept. That is these are the kind of questions you should be asking yourself to know whether you are to put any command there, or you leave them in their corresponding or respective menu. Now, peradventure, there is a particular command that you use often, but it's not among this default list. How do you now consult it? You now go to more command. So more command will give you almost all the main functions in a cell. So let's say, let's assume that is this one that I don't have there. Now, firstly, it's showing us what we have activated. So you just click here to migrate it. And then let's say I want to also add this one. I'll click to migrate it. Then if I want to also remove from the list, click here and remove as well. And then you click OK, and then you find it here. Now, that is one. Now, for example, I'm feeling that this particular bar is too far from the worksheet, because this is where I'm going to be working. And then when I need this shortcut, I don't want to be traveling all the way from here. So I want to bring it closer to this. So what you do is that you click on that customize icon, then you now select show below ribbon, then it will come down. So in case you don't find it here, you can also locate it immediately after the ribbon, or before the formula bar. So that is for that section. So the next section I actually want to explain. If you have question, you ask. If you don't have question, then I move to the next section. Okay, so it means we are good. All right, we are all good. All right, so the next section I want to explain is this particular section. Remember that I've explained this before. This section that keeps changing as I'm changing the tabs is called the tabs properties bar. So they are together. Now let's quickly move to this section. So let me take this one back so that you can go back and select what above ribbon. Now the whole of this section is called the formula bar. It's called the formula bar. The formula bar. Now, you can never claim to be an Excel user and you don't understand how, in fact, it's one of the areas you must understand how it operates. As the name implies, it means that what? It is a section that helps you to view or to write formula. You see this FS that you are seeing here means what? Insert function. So it is this FS that actually gave it that name, formula. Although there are other things. So let me break it down. You see the whole of this section that is showing you G6 is called the arguments range. So the formula bar is made up of two sections. So I'm breaking it into two. One part is the what? The range. The argument what? Range. While the other section is the formula. What does this argument range means? Now, what you are seeing here, you can see that as soon as you click on any cell, the configuration will change. Why am I having 07? Because a cell is saying that your active cell, which is this, is located under what? Column O. And then when you trace it horizontally, is on what? Row 7. That is a logic. That is why if you have a number in two different cells and you want to add them together, you use that understanding to know what to do. Once you have typed your equals to, you will now trace where is this 90 that you want to add is in what? O. And where is it on the horizontal section? Maybe 7. A cell will select it. Then you bring in your plus or your times, and then you want to what? Add this to, want to add 90 to 80. Now, instead of me tracing it, as an expert, I don't have to waste my time tracing it. Just click on it, it will call the what? The argument, and then you press enter. Now, if you select this value is called direct entry. Direct entry. Direct entry do not require formula. These are values that you directly impute without involving any form of calculation. They are called direct entry. Now we have what we call query entry. Query entry, they are entry that you derive by functions that you constructed. For example, now, if I click on this particular cell, it will not show me 170 here. But as I am on 90, or this cell is showing me the actual value in that cell. Why? Because it's what? Direct entry. Now, if I come here now and click here, you see what it's showing now. So I just want us to know why it's called formula bar. Now, what is currently showing us is the formula that was used to derive this. Okay, so I believe I've explained that. This session show us the range where you are, because the spreadsheet, this is a spreadsheet I will talk about, is very large. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why you cannot, one of the reasons why Excel is recommended for data analysis, because of what? The wideness of the spreadsheet. At least a single sheet should be able to hold 1,048,576 records. So which means that if government want to take want to count people in a local government that is within 1 million, only one sheet like this, one sheet, sheet 1, is enough to capture all their information. So not talk of you can add another sheet, you can add another sheet. So what we are saying is that this is 1 million plus, this is another 1 million, this is another 1 million, this is another 1 million plus in a single sheet. All right. So now, what we are saying is that that is why Excel created this session so that you can always know per time where you are, since the environment is wide, so that you can always get that information of, oh, within this wide area, this is where I am specifically. That is what this session is showing us as what I7, which means that what you have moved from all the way from A1 to what I. Now, before I move to the worksheet, because that is where I am going to really spend some time on, let me quickly show us how you can use this. A lot of program functions can be automatically inserted here. So for example, if I have, let's say some numbers, let's say I have these numbers here. So before the next class, make sure that you play with some of this practical that I'm chipping in. Now, if I'm asked to add all these numbers together, an expert will just say equals to, and then highlight all of them. I'll press enter. Now, when you press enter, you see what happened now. It did not, look at what you have here. It's telling that what, once you see this hash value, it means that what is function formula error. That is what it means. So there are some signs you will see as an expert, you know what is wrong. Now, because what I will do is I'll do equals to, I'll say sum, and then open the parenthesis bracket, then do that same thing that I did that generated error now. It will not output that error. You see it? Now, you see how fast I'm able to do it. Now, someone else can say, okay, you want to click here to insert what? The sum. That sum that I manually constructed. And then click OK. And then it will give you a dialog box like this. Now, you will now start calling the argument one after the other. But if you want to, let's try what I did now. Look at this. As I'm highlighting all of them now, you see it captured the range. Shikena, you see it now? That is one way. Or I can as well say equals to, or sorry, I can say, okay, insert a function. This time around, I'm counting. Count the range from here to this, and what? You see it now, 7. Or let me show you another way. Insert the same sum function, and then now you don't want to highlight them at once, because in other words, the task given to you is that you are not to add all of them. You are to add some specific, that is add 90, don't add what, 80, add 50, don't add 40, add 20, some selected value. You can't drag like that. So you click here like this, you go and pick the first one, and then you click here to come back, and then click here to pick the second one, and then click here. So that is how, once you have utilized the existing text boxes, it will keep what, giving you more until you are done selecting all the values. Then you click what, OK. Do we have any question? So if there's no question, we'll go for 5 minutes break, and within that 5 minutes break, nobody should leave here. What we have to be doing is that try and play with some of these things that I am doing, and see if you can get them within that 5 minutes. And if somebody is willing to share his or her screen, go ahead and share so that I can see what you are doing there. How many of us are joining with our system? I hope we are all joining with our laptop. I told her that there will be a time I will ask us to be working. Okay, Chuku, you are joining with your laptop, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, so can you share your screen? Let me start with you. So let me stop sharing so that we can switch to Mr. Okechukwu screen. So I expect others to be practicing as well, so that in case I come on your screen, I should be able to see one or two things you have done regarding to what we have explained so far. All these little practical we are doing, try and play with them. I can't see your screen yet. What I'm seeing here is the kind of blank. Who else is working with his or her system? Mr. Okechukwu, I can't really see anything. I'm seeing a kind of blank interface. I don't know what is going on there. Please, this task is just for 5 minutes before we proceed, please. Whether you are reviewing your screen or not, keep working over there. Just enter values in a column or some cells and try and see if you can sum them up. These are basic things you should know. Mr. Israel. Mr. Israel, are you the one joining from Ghana? It's like this name is different from, or is it the Mr. Israel? I think I'm able to see your screen now, but I'm seeing Microsoft Word instead of Excel. I'm seeing Microsoft Word instead of Excel. Let's be fast about it. Can someone else share his or her screen? I just want to see if we have been able to do anything before we start.
Yeah, if you can stop sharing.
Okay, Mr. Okechukwu, please, can you stop sharing? Let's switch to Mr. Ambrose screen. I think your screen is showing something different from what's expected. Okay, Mr. Ambrose, please kindly share. At least
All
one
right.
person should be able to perform at least one task before I proceed.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's coming up. It's coming up. Yeah, I can see your screen. Okay, so let's see if you can get the total of each of these numbers you have
All
listed.
right. If I'm working with the first one,
Okay,
if I total all of them, equals to sum, I highlight all,
okay,
enter 280. Then if I want to pick um maybe like 90, 50, and 20, can just take this and hit OK. Pick 90, give a space. Pick 50, give a space. Take 20, and OK. Oh, what is that? Supposed to give me 160.
you
Let me
omitted
go
one.
again.
You skip one. I saw it there. You skip one. You skipped one.
Okay. I think I skip one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I can see that.
So that is
All
good.
right. Let me just Okay, take this. Step down. 50. Yeah. 20. Okay, I think that'll be all. All right, yeah.
All right. Okay.
So these are the two things you
All right.
cannot be, yeah.
Mr. Ambrose, I wanted to confirm
Yeah.
the man you recommended, is he in this class? Mr. Ambrose, is he in this class?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He is.
Okay. Is he the one bearing?
Yes, he is. He
Okay.
is. He came a little late.
Okay. All right. All right. I just want to confirm.
I think
All right. So you can
let me.
yeah, stop sharing. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's quickly proceed. I may still come back to our screen if there's still time. Now, all right. So that was one of the best way we can explain the formula bar. I have broken it down. At least now we can identify the range section that update us the particular argument where you are within the worksheet, and then the formula section. Now, let's talk about the worksheets. The worksheets is one of the most important section of Excel interface, like I was explaining the other time. So by definition, we can say the Excel worksheets is the electronic book used for capturing data and also manipulating the data. So the manipulation of the data capture on the sheets is where data analysis, because there's no way you can analyze data without manipulating them. All right, now this is a sheet. The combination of sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4 gives us what? Workbook. So there is difference between workbook. There's difference between workbook and what? Worksheets. Please, worksheets are the individual working environments in Excel, while workbook is the collection of 2 or more worksheets. Now, the way it works is that this is just like a file. So this is the file name, says inventory 2025. Under this file, when you pick it, there are different words, envelope inside, holding different words, information. That is what we know as what? The sheet. Now, it is each of these sheets that has rows and columns, which I am going to talk about. But I just want us to understand what is Microsoft Excel worksheet and workbook. Now, you can add different sheets and you can also what? Delete sheet. You can rename your sheet. You can change the order of arranging your sheet. Let me start by teaching us how to add more sheets. To add more sheets, you just click on this plus sign. This is one option. So as you can see now, I have been able to add additional sheets. So the more I click, I will have more sheets. That is one.
For the man
Now,
to do make I do my own by the side.
another way you can add sheets if you don't want to go with this icon here, you go to insert. When you get to insert, you go to cell section.
It's not possible
Let me click
because I shared this thing with you.
somebody is please, if you can mute yourself, that person talking. Okay. All right. So another way you can add your sheet is that you go to Home tab and then you go to Insert. So from Insert here, you choose which of the elements you want to add. Is the sheet you want to add or is column? So I'll select what? Sheet. So you can see that what? That has added sheet 7. That is how to add sheet. It's either you use this icon or you go through your home tab and then come to insert and then select what? This option. Now, let's quickly look at how do I rename this sheet, because the issue you will have is that by the time you have filled all this with different categorical data, you will not have issue where your boss asks you, where is the sales report for last month? Because you are using sheet 7, which are not descriptive label. So you are supposed to name the sheet according to the data it's holding. So for example, if this sheet is for computing my January sales inventory, then I should name it as January. So how do you name your sheet? One, right click on it and then select what? Rename. It will highlight it. So I can just name this January what? Sales. Remember that we have the book name as what? Sales inventory. So which means that what? This is automatically what? January sales inventory. Now, if I don't want to use the right-clicking option, which other way can I rename the sheet? I will just double-click on it. It will highlight it. I type February. All right, so double-click. This is March. Double-click. This is April. All right, now how do we delete the sheet? To delete sheet, just right-click on it, then select what? Delete. Then right-click again, select delete. Right-click, select delete. All right, now that is one thing. How do I change the order? Let's assume that you have, look at this, February is coming before January. Maybe you mistakenly realign the order. So how do you change the order? If I want February to come before April, how do you do that? You click and hold down the left button on your mouse. Then you will see that arrow and you can see that document icon attached to the arrow. Once you can see it, it means you are doing the right thing. Just keep going. If I move, you see that this arrow, this navigator is moving. Once you get to where you want to drop, you release your hand. And for your information, as you moved it now, all the records that you must have computed in it have equally what? Moved with it. So that is one thing we should understand. So there might be instances where in an office, they will tell you rearrange your sheet. So that is how you do it. Now, let's come back to the workbook, to the worksheet. Like I said, is the electronic workbook where we capture or use for capturing entries and also for manipulating the entries. Now, the worksheet is made up of different components. So I can say worksheet features. Worksheet features. So the first one I want to talk about is the column. So I'll quickly explain the columns. Now, the column is an important part of the worksheet that defines the vertical spaces which are used for defining the attributes or label or features of your data sets. Now, for example, here now, the alphabetical label, they are called columns. So this is column A. In other words, the whole of this vertical space is called what? Column A. The whole of this is called column B, while the whole of this is called column C. Now, bear it in mind that each of those columns, they are expected to what? To represent one header. For example, now, if I want to create sales inventory, I should attach two headings in one column. Each column is for one heading. So just know that columns represent your data set headings. So I can say, okay, let's say a customer ID. That is a column. And this particular ID is a label, is an attribute that describes your data properties. So seeing this ID, that informed me the type of value to compute here. That will end up the value you compute here, the one you compute under another header, the one you compute under another header, form what you call data set that you end up analyzing. So now, the next question is that, sir, how many headers does Excel single sheet has? These are some interview questions. How many headers? So now that we understand, the question can be twisted. It can come in another form. Somebody can ask you, okay, my business transaction daily, we have about 10,000 patronage. Can Excel sheets process 10,000 record? That, for you to be able to say yes or no, it is where you understand how many of the column. Now, since the column represents the header and somebody is asking that how many header can be created, it means that what you start your counting. A is 1, B 2, C 3, D 4, E 5. Then you keep counting until you get to the last one. But you know what? This U that you are seeing here is never the last one. If you are using a bigger screen system, you will see more than U. If you are using a smaller laptop, you might just stop at P. So never use the one you are seeing here to say that is all. So you should know that in a single sheet, you can write it down somewhere. In a single sheet, we have 16,385. We have 16,385, 84 rather, 384 columns. So which means that if you start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, before you get to the last column, you must have counted what? 16,000. Now, but how do I even see it? To see it, you check your keyboard, just click here, click on that first one. You check your keyboard, there is a section by your right hand side where you have 4 arrows. I believe somebody can confirm that. 4 arrows. We have the one facing up, we have the one facing down, we have the one facing left and right. So once you can confirm those arrows, just hold down your control. There is a button that is written CTRL, control button. Hold it down and press the right arrow button. You see that what? A cell will jump from the first column A to what? Column what? SFD. So in an interview, they can ask you, the label of the first column is what? A. Whatever the last column, you say what? SFD. So what Excel did is that there's a kind of permutation that actually what happened before you get to the, maybe after A to Z, then AB, sorry, AA, AB, AC, and then down to how they got to what? This SFD. So if you count everything, you can research on your own. You can search on Google even as we are talking now. How many columns are in a single sheet? Google will tell you, except if Excel has upgraded it. But the last time I checked, 16,384. Now, if I want to go back and then use the reverse arrow button, and that will bring you, that is how you can move, horizontally from the first column label to the what? To the last column label. Now, we're taking note of that. Takeaway here is that the columns are for defining your data attribute, and they are the ones that form the vertical spaces. And there are what? 16,384 of them per sheet. Now, let's talk about the rows. The rows here represent record, this 1, 2, 3. So though they are labeled vertically, but we trace the space they define horizontally. So the rows are the horizontal spaces labeled with numbers. So the question is that the row represent record, while the column represent headings. Take note of that. So if we want to know how many records can be tracked on a single sheet, it means that what? We need to know the total numbers of rows per sheet. That is what it means. So how do we do that? To do that, that same logic, you click on the first cell, and then this time around, hold down the control button. Instead of pressing the right arrow button, press the down arrow button like this. It will jump to the last one. So the last one, as we can see here, is labeled what? 1,048,576. If I want to go back, hold down the control button, then press the what? The up arrow button. So that is how you can jump from the first row to the last row, and also first column to the last column. I hope somebody is getting that. Please, can I get a response, please? At least for one person to know if we are following.
Yes.
All right. All right. So now, the next thing we want to look at is the next thing I want to show us now that we understand this. The next component, remember that what I am still explaining what makes up the workbook or the worksheet rather. We have identified the column and their function. We have identified the rows and their what function. Now there are other components. You see all these grid line, this vertical line, horizontal lines that are forming the column space, the row space, the cell or the boxes spaces. They are called the grid lines. So what is the major function of the grid line? The grid lines defines the column space, the row space, the cell space. So you need to understand it. Now, quickly, I want to show you that the moment you want to print by default, Excel have not set all this to display. Now, let's say you want to print now, I want to print all these values that we have imputed on the sheet. If I go to file now and I select what? Print, you can see that what? All the grid lines, all the ABCD, all the 1, 2, 3 have disappeared. So by default, Excel only plan that structure in order to help you to organize your data, your entry vertically, horizontally. The moment you want to print, they fall back. Now you can authorize them to show. And how do you do that? You will now go to our page setup. So from here, you will now go to, okay, I want to activate the grid line. You go to sheet. Then from sheet, you now turn on what? The grid line. So if I click now, you now see that what? The grid lines will now come up on only the areas where I have capture inputs. So I go back again to the sheet. I can say, okay, I want everything print what? Rows and column headings. So if I click OK now, you now see that what? Now it has activated the what? The letters and the number. But I just want you to know that by default, Excel will disappear all those things. It is you that will come here and say, I need them based on what I want to do. So if you want to prepare a roster now, or timetable, instead of you going to Microsoft Word, what are you wasting your time there doing? You can just come here, enter those things, and then print with grid line. And then you have automatically converted your worksheet record to what? Table. All right, so let me turn them off. Then you can come here. There are other things you can do here. You can say, okay, everything should be, if you have some color entry there, everything should turn to black and white, whatever. And then you want to the page order, how you want to order it. Though we are still going to talk about printing. I don't want to distract us too much. I just want us to see these few things. So I can go back there and let me turn them off so that you know how it comes by default. All right. So now let me go back to my sheet. So the fastest way, next time you want to see the grid line, don't waste your time going there. Just select this particular area like this. This area, let's say this is the area you want to convert. You want to see the grid line. So once you have highlighted the area, make sure that you are under home. Then come to this place where you have bottom border. Then select what? All border. You see that what? Automatically you have activated. So if I go to my print, as if I want to print now, you see that what? I will get the what? The line without me having to go through page setup, sheet, and all of that. So Now, but what I'm explaining now is the grid lines. Just for you to know that what the grid lines are not programmed to display by default. Is either you use this logic I use now, or you go there to activate them. So let's quickly look at another worksheet component, which is this particular tick box that you are seeing. Anywhere you click is following you. It is called insertion pointer. So it is an indicator that tells you and I the next thing you type, where it is, that is where it's going to appear. That is why most time it is called the active cell. Active cell. All these boxes, they are part of the worksheet. They are called what? Variable. I'm trying to use programming term here now. They are variable because variables are container used for holding values. When we get to Python, you'll be hearing all those terms. So based on programming term, I have already labeled all these boxes as empty variable. This one is variable with what? Integer. So if I type, let's say Prosper in it now, I'll say a string variable. That is what is storing what? Text. So all these boxes, they are data holders. That is why I told us from beginning that these spreadsheets serve two purposes. One, it's a platform that helps us to hold our data value as data analysts for us to speak to the data, draw insight from them, and write our final reports. While at the same time, the worksheet is also acting as a library. You saw how we call those functions the sum, the count from the same sheet. So that is why you see that it's very user-friendly, because when we get to Python now, we will now be installing a framework. We will now be installing the language. So you see, sometimes it's the reason why some people that don't want to go deep, will just stop on a cell, because everything they want, they are in one place. All right. So with what I've explained now, that brings us to the end of the worksheet. Any question? Any question? Do we have question? Any question? I want to use the remaining time that we have to compute a simple data set, which I'll give to us as an assignment to go and work on. For the next class, I'll be bringing data sets. So we'll start talking to data. So like I said, the whole of this section is basic. We have not started doing anything analysis here. This is just giving us a foundation. Do we have question? No question. Now let's quickly look at data entry before you still have about 18 minutes or 12 minutes. Let's look at data entry. What is data collection or data entry? Is a field in data analytics or data science. Is a field. This is an aspect that some persons we specialize on. Their work is just to impute data into the worksheet, assemble data for the analyst to analyze. So it's a skill that you have to get, because you don't know where you are going to secure that job. The company you want to work for, they may not want to employ two different people. One just to be entering data, one is to be analyzing. They can decide to say, okay, if you have data entry skills, just be the one to compute the data. At the same time, you be the one to analyze for them. If they don't analyze often, some company analyze every month end. Why some? Every 2 days, some every day. You must analyze. So those kind of company will definitely get a standby data analyst. All right. So one of the basic things you need to understand in the cell is, how do I put values together? How do I develop inputs? Now, before you start creating your data, you need to know every data. Please take note of this. Every data you collect is as a result of a problem you are trying to solve. So that data becomes the solution. all those data structure you see in the bank, when somebody wants to collect loan, they call out a data format. That data is an answer to a challenge that they were having in managing record. So anytime you want to collect data, you must first of all understand the problem that data is going to solve. And then once you understand the problem that data is going to solve, then you will now be able to know how to draft the fields. That is what? The headers. Because each header answer was sub-problem within the what? The main problem. So let's say, for example, we want to develop sales inventory data system. So whatever I'm doing now, please, before the next class, every one of us should be able to replicate it. And then you will show me on Thursday before I proceed. Now, so we are creating what? Sales inventory. Now, what is sales inventory? Sales inventory is a data system that helps us to track our sales activities. Oh, so I've identified what? The purpose. Now, what and what will I like to track? So the first thing I'm going to do, since this is data analytics class, I don't want to go by decorating, creating graphics. I will just start from the heading. But normally you are supposed to type the name of your company somewhere, and then the address of your company, probably the contact if possible, before you start entry. But I want to start from the header. So your own, you can give me order because of time. So we are developing what says inventory. So the first thing I'm going to factor is what? The headers. So the header, I want to start with, the first one is product ID. Product ID. Now, instead of me leaving the space, I'm using underscore to separate them. Product what? ID. Now, as I'm entering, because these are the skills I want us to learn. You see, every Excel user should have data entering skills. And when you are entering data, you will now be faced with what? Formatting skill. So there are two things we'll be learning as we are collecting data. You can see there's a challenge I am facing already, and I'm going to show us how you can solve it. This header has exceeded its line. This is not good entry. There have to be allowance. There should be space between this and this. The letter should not rest on the line. So how do you adjust it? There are two ways. You can trace that line and double click on it. It will automatically adjust it. Or you trace it and then you move like this. So depending on how you want it. So I've typed that. Remember that I have to continue let me put an icon for saving. I thought, okay, yeah, it's there. I'll just click here to save my time. So the next header is product name, product underscore name. Now the same challenge. So I will just double click to expand it. The next one is the quantity. Quantity, I can represent it with QTY, but let me type it in full. Quantity. The next header is the unit price, unit underscore price. So I'm adding that underscore because I want us to get used to it, because if you call a data set with this space in Python, you will have issue. So let's start getting used to the proper way of entry data that will probably be called in another platform. So the next one is total value. Total underscore value. We are rounding off soon. The next one is sales date. Sales date. So there are different formats out there. So I'm just trying to give us something we can develop on. So the next one is quantity sold. Most of them will require calculation as we proceed. Quantity sold. So I will also Then the next one is revenue. Revenue. Then the next one is supply. supplier, supplier. Then the next one is category. So there are some other additional entry, but because of time, I want to stop here. So I expect you to come up with a more voluminous one. You can research and develop your own data set. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to teach us how to format it. You can see that this particular entry, they are not presentable. They are not user-friendly. They are not user-friendly. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to expand all this column where I have my record, my header listed in a way that there can be space. So I don't want to be adjusting them one by one like this, one by one like this. I want to adjust all of them at once. So I'll select the first feature and then hold down the control and the shift button. If you check your keyboard, you find shift and control. Press the two buttons down, press the arrow button. It will automatically select all of them at once. So what I've done now is what an amateur will do like this. We'll be highlighting like this. So you that you are learning this for advanced purpose, we need to start learning some of those basic things in an advanced form. So just select it and hold down the control and shift, then it will highlight, except knows where to stop, where you have value. Now, what do I want to do? I want to increase their width to the same. So once we have done that, you go to Home tab, and then you come to Format. Then you select what? Column width. So because we have different widths, remember that I've tampered with this. That is why this is showing me blank space. So I can just troubleshoot. I'll put 12 there and check. Okay, so with this, you can see that even with this is not still coming out. So I have to still expand a little. So I will just go back to my format, column width. Let me put like 14 and click. Okay, perfect. So with this, no one is touching each other. Now, because they are the headers, I want to give them the same color, or I want to also expand the rows. The rows, I see that what? There is no space. We call that padding. We call that padding in programming. You see that what? This entry in this box is touching the line. There is no allowance. So how do I increase the height of the row? That is the row height. So you click on it like this, the number, which means that what? The whole of that row is selected. Then you go back to that same Home tab and then come to the same format. This time around, you navigate to what? Row height. Then the default row height is 15. So you want to increase, you put like 30 there, and then you click. You see that what? I've expanded it. But at the same time, another problem is generated. What's the problem? These letters are now sitting on the bottom line instead of what? Being positioned at the center. So what do? You will now consult alignment. So you now come to this place under your home, come to alignment section. We have horizontal alignment, we have vertical alignment. This is the alignment that will solve it. These ones are for left and right, while these ones are for vertical alignment. All right, then I can decide to give them what? Certain color or any color of my choice. I can bold them, I can italic. These are basic things we must have learned from Word. Then I'll save. Now, the next thing is to generate the value. So I've created my headers. To generate my value, to generate my ID, there should be a unique ID that a format will have been given to you, maybe based on the product name, whatever. So let's see what P100. So the next one, if I autofill it, you see that what? It will automatically what? Increase it, because I've given a cell a sample that follow that format. The next one should be 1, 2, 3. So you have to give a cell the formula, and then the cell will follow it. Then product name, you enter the name of your product. So I will just enter random product. So you are supposed to obtain all these things from probably the invoice or the receipt. So let's say a laptop, CD because of time, VDU. They just give me 5 minutes, I'll close it. Now, the next thing I want to do here is that because of time, normally you're supposed to follow it the way the items are being purchased. But now, just to show us some logic in Excel. Now, for you to test Excel AI, whether Excel will actually read your mind. Now, I want to tell Excel that, you know what? I have entered laptop, I've entered CD, I've entered video. I want you to replicate it. That is what here should be laptop, here should be CD, here should be video, here should be laptop, here should be CD, here should be video. Follow that same format and fill up the rest. Now you select 3 of them and double tap here. Excel will read your mind automatically. You are pressing Ctrl S as we are saying. Quantity. I want to show you a logic here. Let's assume that you are to increase number based on what? Unique interval. That's what? 5 increment. 5 increment. You give Excel the example. The first one is 10, which means that what? The second one will be 15. Once you have given that example like that, then highlight both of them, double tap that edge. Excel will increase it by what? 5. Okay, and then it will stop exactly where the last value stop. Now, unit price, the same thing, just to save my time. Let's say I want to increase it by 500. So here will be 1,000. And then highlight both of them, double click, and then you are saving. Now, total value, this one require calculation. You have to multiply the unit price by the quantity. So that is where Excel query comes in. Equals to, capture this, put your times, which is shift 8, capture this, and then press enter. Excel will calculate it. Then click on the one you have got to, double tap, it will calculate others for you automatically. Sales date, you enter the date. Let's assume this 2025. We are done. Remember, 3 minutes remaining. Has to give me 5 minutes. So this date is a reserved word. It's already programmed in the system. So if you try auto-filling it like this, it will increase it. So if you want to replicate it to be the same date, all the transactions can happen the same day. Just copy, click on this one, then go to your home, select what, copy, then highlight other empty cell you want to fill with the same date, then click on paste. Now, quantity sold is for us to what? To impute how many of them, let's say 20, out of the quantity that we have imputed, so it should not be higher or it should be equal. Let's say 9 have been sold, here 15, 9, or let's say 8 has been sold, 7 has been sold. Let's say 5, 4, 3, 2, just random, just 2. All right. Now, what is revenue? Revenue, we multiply this total by this. Total value by the what? Quantity sold. We give us what? The revenue. So I'll construct my query formula. This is multiplication. A times B, B times A, the same thing. So select this, insert your operator, shift and 8 to insert your times. In computer, this is times. Now, capture the other value, sorry, I think here, and then press enter. Then that is the revenue. Then, right? Then supplier name, category, then you can do that. Any question, please? So we are stopping here. So I believe we have learned a lot as far as Excel Basic is concerned. So by the grace of God, on Thursday, we will now focus on the basic aspect of data analysis. So there, like I said, I'll start from data wrangling. I will show us, make sure you have an email, working email, because I'm going to show us how you can derive some workable, well-structured data from a particular platform, how you can decrypt it to CSV format, Excel format, before you can use it for the analysis. Any question, please? Any question? Any question? So that we can round up. Any question, please? Please, can I hear from, if possible, 1 minute or 1 second from each of you? Let me just hear from you. How was the class? Hope you understand it. Just say I understand it. The class is okay, and then we just close quickly. Let me start from okay, Chuku. I just want to get that impression that all is well with us before I close the session.
Yes, all is well, sir.
All right. So everybody should take this as an assignment. Oyikosi, hope all is well as well.
Excuse me. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
This category, what is it? Because I followed you.
Okay, so the category.
I've done this.
Yes, the category, like here now, this laptop can be under computer category. Maybe other can be under electronic. This product here now, probably their group, we have electronic.
Okay.
So you can have a way of.
Okay.
All right. So I think
Okay.
which other
Okay, I understand.
Ehens, I couldn't hear from you at all today. Or was it the person speaking? Ehens and Israel.
It's okay. Thank you very much. I understand the class.
Okay.
Secondly, I don't have the install on my laptop yet,
Okay.
so I'll get it installed tomorrow and also go through the class.
Hello, good day to you.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, so good night.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay. Who is speaking? Israel.
Hello. Yeah,
Okay.
not Israel, it's Onyinye,
Okay, well, that is what I'm seeing here.
the man that was introduced to you by Mr. Ambrose.
All right. You are welcome, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Thank
hear
you. This is my first day in the class. Though I was a bit late because I closed by 8 and before I got it was half 8.
you.
And that was why I was 30 minutes late. I'm sorry about that.
All right.
Well, the class was okay. Think I've been able to learn one or two things.
All right.
Just that I've not been in this class before, so I'm finding some of those things new to myself. But I believe with time, I will catch up.
Okay. What I will do is that I will send you I think I will drop the link of the last class in the group, the recording.
Yeah.
This one was
Okay.
there so that you can, before Thursday, watch that video, and then the part that you missed
Okay.
also, then on Thursday you should be able to be with us 100%.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Good night, everyone. So see you on Thursday. Thank you for choosing the GTZ Hub. Welcome. Right.